And the session's being recorded. Sylvia, over to you, and then Marcus.
Thank you so much for that introduction. So, hi everybody. My name is Sylvia Johnson, and I'm currently head of methodology at Preply. I have a background in instructional design, specialize in language learning and skills training, and I started Preply about 4 years ago. And really excited to be with you all today, discussing something which is very dear to my heart, which is the synergy of artificial intelligence and human intelligence.
Fabulous. Marcus.
Hey everyone, my name is Marcus Very. I've been working with training, learning, and development for 18 plus years, but always focused on the performance of sales teams and go-to-market teams. Here at Preply, I lead the go-to-market enablement team for the B2B side of the business. And one of my passions is obviously education and changing behaviors and see how that affects people's lives and also the business. And this is a very hot topic for me as well, because I truly believe there's a lot of questions around the influence of artificial intelligence in our jobs and our work, and how we can be more powerful, or maybe being very controversial, replaced. We're going to talk about it. So it's a really exciting topic.
We can't ignore it because everyone's talking about being replaced. We have to address the elephant in the room. Thank you, Marcus.
Exactly.
Let's start off with a question, then we'll go into a presentation. The question is, or Sylvia, do you want to read the question out?
Absolutely. To what extent do you feel L&D can be replaced by artificial intelligence? You see, we are getting straight into the elephant in the room here.
And I'd love we've got a big box underneath that, Sylvia, big box. Please put your answers in there. We want to save all the answers in there. Can we be replaced completely? Can we be replaced a bit? Who's going to be pushing the levers? 60%. Magdalena comes straight in with a very firm quantitative answer. We can be replaced 60%. Magdalena, can you tell us which 60? And Johanna is saying, I'd prefer enhanced, so 50-50. I wasn't expecting linguistic numeric answers here at all. It's fascinating. Cecilia, it says, we can be leveraged if we do our better, but we cannot replace us completely. Okay. Rob says, you can't fully replace HI with AI. You'll always need the human element. Can you explain more, Rob, about what the human element is? It will be an enhancement, says Chris. More can be done. Look at computers. Okay, and then Magdalene has been quite specific about what she means. Content drafting, coaching assessments, recommendations engines. Coaching, I think, is very interesting. There's so much work taking place in that field at the moment. So what we have is a combination of answers here, then Sylvia and Marcus, which is, so Declan's saying, I think he sums it up really, maybe not so much as other topics. So there's some places within L&D that you can be replaced, like content drafting and recommendation engines, the mechanical transactional stuff. There's other stuff, which is the human stuff, which is difficult to translate. Craig says there's no EI, emotional intelligence, in AI yet, so we still need the humans. AI can possibly assist, Keith says, with admin tasks, but we can't replace humans completely. Vicky is going to join us as well. So, Marcus, what's your take? I mean, the view seems to be, yeah, it will help us. We can replace a bit, but we still need the human element. That's the phrase that's being used. Do you agree?
I agree. I have a positive spin to it. So I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So I think it comes to help and give us powers that we didn't have before. So obviously, we have always struggled, if we were working with L&D for a long time, the way we used to produce content 10, 15 years ago, the time it would take us to produce content and gather all the references and making sure that we are creating something that is engaging, it would take forever. So everything's happening so much faster now. And I think there was a time where we had a huge gap on necessity for speed and quality and the way we were producing content. So I think from my perspective, we are finally close to a time where we can be as fast as we are required to be, with positive impact on quality as well. So that's what I think.
I'm going to come back to you on that as fast as we're required to be bit in a minute, Marcus, because I've got a counterpoint on that. But Sylvia, what's your take? I mean, Keena puts it very clearly. It's an enabler, not a replacement. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So, as I was saying before, as head of methodology, our key role initially in Preply was to build content. And so we spent 3 years very happily enjoying writing that content, creating that content. It was very much about the human touch. Then AI came in, it totally disrupted our world of content creation. And so we had to pivot quite fast. And we had to decide, okay, what tools can we use which will enable us to create this content, but also and be a little bit more efficient. But the focus for us was always very much on the quality of the content. So I agree, I think, with a lot of people's comments. It is an enabler, it is an assistant, it might spark a little bit of creativity. However, you still need that human touch to take it to a level of quality which we feel is necessary and for it to be effective.
Two things. I think that's a great answer. Two things from the chat. Firstly, Stuart says graft versus craft. AI does the graft. Humans do the craft. I love that. I'm going to order a t-shirt with that on. Alison also says the human element will always be needed for relationship building. I think that we underestimate the power and the importance, particularly for L&D teams, of relationships. You've got to build relationships with the business, and a robot can't do that for you. Marcus, just one thing. You said finally we'll be able to do things at the speed we're required to. I'm dubious about that. I think that as we move forward, guess what? The business moves forward as well. And there is always more demand for more stuff than we can possibly do, no matter how efficient we are.
Yeah. So I think we are moving really fast for a long time now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how faster we can go, but for sure it will happen. And if it happens, I think that technologies is a really powerful enabler. So what I meant by that is, I'll give you a proper example from Preply on the business side. We have been hiring people, growing our team exponentially. We have to make sure that we onboard everyone, that have high quality programs, that they know what they're going to do, give them the right tools, the right content, and it all happens so fast. So business decisions they happen every week, every day. Priorities change from morning to the afternoon, and I think that technology just allows us to react really fast and adapt real quickly. I
Good
think
answer.
I finally, myself personally, I finally see myself on a stage that I can support that now when it comes to content creation. But something that me and my teams used to struggle maybe 5-10 years ago, because of the content creation process was slower than the speed that we were required to do it. And I think that we finally got to a place where we feel comfortable navigating the changes without losing quality.
Brilliant. And I love the example you're using, actually, of using examples within your own business of doing this. And particularly, Sylvia, a lot of people are going to be facing what you faced 3 years ago. Your world being turned upside down, you handled it, and you changed what you're doing. I love that as an example. One size doesn't really fit all, Chris says, and he says the human element will always be needed to put more specific prompts. And maybe, I think Chris is alluding to the idea that we'll get more sophisticated in our demands and our requirements from L&D as we go forward, as we become aware of what L&D can do with AI. I could easily, I feel like, cracking up a beer and chatting about this for the rest of the day, but there's a presentation to be had. So I'm going to move us on to, so thank you for all the stuff coming. Jana, I'm going to have to move on, because if you could, Jana, you're writing something in the box on the left. If you could start writing it in the box on the right under general chat and observations, that's great, because I'm going to change the layout now. We're going to start sharing screen so we get the presentation from Marcus. So that stuff hasn't been lost, but we can't type there now. So we're going to ask everybody to chat, put their stuff in the general chat and observations, and I'll turn my camera off on my mic, and it's over to you, Marcus.
Great, thank you, Donald. Yeah, so the title of this presentation is just as big as the topic, so I'm sorry about that, but it's how artificial intelligence and human intelligence can work together to develop L&D programs. And I think it's a great topic for all of us. I think it was a great warm-up. We have more discussions and more questions for you guys, and also share a little bit of our experience on both personal and professional levels, what we have been seeing when it comes to merging artificial intelligence with humans. So just a brief and quick introduction to who we are. So Preply, we are the largest one-on-one language tutoring platform in the world. So basically, we connect business tutors with employees, or on the B2C side, we connect people with the right tutors. Since we started in 2012, we have had more than 2 million learners going through our platform and learning more than 50 languages with us. We have a curation for B2C of 30 2,000 plus tutors in the platform. And for businesses, we have a special curation of tutors that are specialized on teaching employees. And we have around 10,000 tutors in the platform, between 10 and 12,000 tutors in the platform. Just out of curiosity, a fun fact, depending on where you are and where you read the news, the world has between 195 countries to 200 countries. We have tutors present in 190 countries. So we can pretty much say we have tutors across the globe. And this perfect blend between the technology and AI that we use, with the human touch of the best tutors out there, and the methodology that we use to teach our employees, it has allowed us to be up to 18% faster than global standards for learning, which is amazing. When you won't know, if you speak a different language, how long it takes to learn a new language or to perfect a new language. And the fact that the blend between humans and technology and methodology with Preply allows companies to get results up to 18% faster, which in terms of time, we are talking about something around 21, 22 months. So this is Preply. You can download the app if you're curious and you want to know. I'm from Brazil. I have learned language through different methodologies in my life. So I speak English, I speak Spanish. I had to learn Spanish because my mother-in-law is Colombian, so I had to understand what she says about me. But I've learned English for business purposes, and now we have a lot easier and the most easier, simplest, and effective way to learn languages, which is Preply. So if you're curious, you can download the app. We have the links also here in the presentation if you want to know more about us. So now I'm going to hand over to Sylvia, because we have a beautiful story. We were born with a purpose, and she's going to share a little bit more about our vision and mission with you guys.
Thank you, Marcus. And it's very true. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint, but we help you run that little bit faster. So let me tell you a little bit more about Preply. So first of all, we have a vision. So we believe that you can unlock human potential through learning. However, we believe that learning with a great tutor is absolutely life-changing. And so this is how we deliver the learning experience. And every day we focus on empowering our tutors to deliver an exceptional learning experience. We're passionate about, as Marcus said, connecting learners with online tutors from across the globe, empowering them to create personalized language classes with AI-powered tools and content, while providing the human support they need to achieve their goals. So for us, human-led learning is a critical pillar to the pedagogical process, and it's really central to the Preply DNA. So we not only match online tutors from across the globe with learners, we also deliver a flipped classroom blended learning methodology, which is all about the combination of self-study and live lessons. But really the focus here is all about live lessons, because we believe it's that human intervention is so important for not only personal growth, for development. And I think, as one of our listeners said before, it's about emotional intelligence. It's about learning how to learn. It's about fostering that love of learning. And while AI may help us process and provide information, it can't actually replace that very human experience of learning. And so Preply has decided that we believe and we will empower our tutors. We will hopefully give them those superpowers they need through AI, but we are very much focused on maintaining that human touch.
Perfect. That's it. So, Sylvia, we talked a little bit about that already, and we have that question that we have asked ourselves at some point of our journey. And we have this very strong human aspect of what we do. So I will go and ask straight away, will AI replace human tutors?
Absolutely not. And it's interesting that you asked this question. So just yesterday, I was taking part in the Preply Tutors Conference. So every year we run a 3-day online conference. We invite all of our tutors. There's around 35,000 tutors around the world. They all come to our sessions, and we ran a little bit of a panel on AI and human intelligence as well. And of course, the first questions that were coming through the chat within 2 minutes of people coming into the stage were like, will we be replaced by IA? Should we be worried for our roles and for our jobs, etc.? And I'm going to give you the answer I gave them. Absolutely not. We do not envision right now a world where AI is going to replace our human tutors. Our tutors are at the heart of Preply, and all of our current work on AI is really designed to help them do what they do best. For them to spend time with their students in their live lessons, connecting, building learning experiences together. And in the case of language learning, you all know how important it is to have that opportunity to produce the language to speak. And so we want to make sure that AI will help them with the more mundane tasks that they have to do, because we believe they are very, very critical. And also, we know from a lot of our students, so we do a lot of research in Preply. We spend quite a lot of time talking to our students and our tutors to see what they want. And what we hear time and time again from our students is it's all about their tutor. From the moment they go onto a platform, we suggest a series of tutors. They watch videos. The tutors actually let their personality shine through the videos. And that's what really triggers someone to book that first trial lesson with. And they think, yes, this is a person I can connect with. And then as they get into the lessons, they start building up that very, very powerful human relationship, which allows them to feel that their live lessons is such a safe space for learning. So they come in and they share their thoughts, their fears, they practice, their tutor is encouraging, they deliver feedback. I mean, it's just not a world right now where we think AI can do what our tutors do. But what we know we need to do here at Preply is combine the power of artificial intelligence with the expertise of our tutors to create a learning experience that is more personalized, more effective, and more efficient than ever before.
Yeah, that's amazing, Sylvia. And I think that it's quite obvious that if someone asks, can I learn a language or can I improve my language skills using technology only? Maybe the answer to that is yes. Then the second question is, can you do that as fast as you could with the human power involved, or as effectively as you could? So if I may share a personal story, I told you guys that I was going to share some things like personal stories, but it involves technology and it involves learning. So I come from a family that is very musical, so I play a couple of instruments, and I was trying to learn the Hawaiian guitar, the ukulele. I don't know if you're all familiar with that instrument, but it's very light to carry. I can play everywhere. I can carry everywhere. And my daughter loves the sound. So I say, okay, I'll play it, but I don't want to tutor. I want to download an app and I'm going to learn. And the app is great. The app listens to what I play, gives me feedback on the quality of the sound, if the notes are accurate. I have to play the notes with a timer, so it helps me learn. And at the same time, my cousin, he lives in Brazil. He's also a musician. He plays the guitar, and he started working with a tutor just to improve. And I said, oh, that's like very maybe like time consuming and you have to connect with that person. I don't have time for that. I'm going to use my app. So at the beginning, all good. I was moving fast. It was gamified. I got points. It was very fun. And I noticed at some point, I was very proudly posting my videos on social media, playing the ukulele. Uh, and my cousin was doing the same with his guitar, and he was not playing really well. 6 months in, I have the same videos. I'm not posting anymore because I'm not progressing. And my cousin is just posting those very virtual guitar solos, and he was playing so much. And every single post he makes, he has a thank you note for his tutor. Every time he says, thanks, the name of the tutor, thanks to I'm learning how to play, I'm a lot better. And this is not me saying just because this is the theme of our presentation, but I was looking at that and said, okay, that really makes a difference. It could be as well as myself using an app, but obviously he's a lot better than I am. He's moving a lot faster than I am, and it does sound good. So long story short, I'm not playing anymore, and he's just now live gigs. He's recording music, and in a whole new level. And he's really grateful to his tutor. That accountability, that partnership, really made a difference. So yeah, I don't play the ukulele yet. So my daughter has to be happy with 2 songs that I know for now.
I mean, I think that's a really good point that you make also about the accountability. So I've also been learning Catalan. I moved to Barcelona 4 years ago, and I realized that I needed to embrace the new culture, embrace the place where I live, and Catalan was the place to do it. So again, I started learning a little bit online. but I'd sort of learn a little bit, then I'd put it to one side because obviously we're all pretty time poor in this world. And so there were so many more fun things to do, especially learning beginner Catalan. And it really wasn't until I started learning Catalan on Preply where I knew that my tutor was A, expecting me to turn up to my lesson, B, expecting me to have done my homework before the lesson. And that really made sure that I was focused. And so I did. Well, perhaps if just an app had notified me, hey, Sylvia, you need to complete this exercise or do this activity, I wouldn't have done so. So I think this is where also the human relationship is key in engagement, it's key in motivation, but also in the learning side itself.
Yes, amazing. All right. So just one fun fact before we move on. This slide, this tutor here, she's an actual human person. She's not AI, but for some reason in this photo she looks like a robot. So that's why we use this photo. But yeah, she's a real person here. So we're going to talk a little bit more about like how we in practice use AI and human intelligence to collaborate, to work together for towards a goal, and how humans can be empowered by it and enabled by technology.
Yeah, I mean, AI has really become part of the general Preply culture as well. Every single department has been trying to use different AI tools in their work to make them more efficient. We actually had a key result based on the use of AI tools in order to boost productivity. So it's not just our client facing platform. So it's not just in the Preply platform between the tutors and the students, it's in all of the different departments. So marketing have been using it, copy have been using it, of course the engineering team have been using it, and from my point of view the methodology team, so we are all about creating content, creating learning tools, or enabling other product teams to create better learning tools. So we've had to learn an awful lot about prompt engineering. So I think there was a comment back at the beginning after that first question, like prompt engineering is the new skill. And absolutely, it really, really is. So AI is most definitely here to stay. And I have found through all of my learning on this prompt engineering, there are so many fabulous tools that can create more interesting, more effective, more engaging content. However, you do need that human touch to ensure that the output of your prompts is underpinned by really true pedagogical principles and actually is effective for learning materials. So for us here at Preply, as I mentioned before, tutoring remains at the heart of our mission. We believe in preserving this unique aspect. We believe in empowering our tutors rather than allowing AI to take over from them. But we are actively exploring ways in which we can enhance the live learning journey using the AI tools. So one exciting concept was the introduction of our AI-powered teaching assistant for our tutors. So this supported our tutors in delivering more effective lessons and really, again, helping learners reach their goals faster, which is just our aim. We're also at the moment looking at learner tools between classes, so AI-driven tools that allow learners to practice, to review, and to reinforce what they've learned, but always anchored with the live lessons and essentially just creating a more seamless learning experience. So we've decided embrace from a strategic level. We are going to embrace AI. We are going to leverage AI. We are going to integrate AI as much as possible into our organization. We are going to look for ways where we can enhance our learner AI or tutor experience, sorry, where we are going to enhance our learner or tutor experience through AI, but always focusing on quality. So I think there are many ways that you can put AI. You can sprinkle the AI magic throughout the platform, but we were very, very specific. If we are going to use AI, there needs to be a user case where we identify there is a need, and we believe that AI is potentially the right solution to solve this customer problem. So overall, Preply has become, I would say, an AI-driven company. And Marcus, you mentioned before that you're using a lot of AI in the B2B world as well.
Yes, exactly. So first of all, it's very interesting because we have all of these capabilities, and I'm working really close to the sales teams. So teams that work with other companies to make sure that they use Preply to enhance their language skills and break communication barriers internationally. And we have a lot of a lot of great features that really make the experience different from uh, traditional methods. And we leverage a lot our AI capabilities. But it's interesting, Silvia, what you mentioned is like it's only AI. Everybody's talking about AI. It's a trendy word. So everybody has AI in their presentations, and they talk about that a lot. And we went through a very interesting uh, process 2 months ago because we were revamping the way we sell and the processes, updating our pitch decks. And it was interesting because we had the first version of the pitch deck had AI everywhere. And when we gave a first pass with the sales teams, they were saying, okay, we don't quite understand all the features that we have. We are not sure we are prepared to answer questions from customers about where the AI is in our platform, what part it plays. And we said, look, there's a point in there. We don't have to be very heavy on how we talk about AI. AI needs to be effective, needs to uh, provide us something that makes sense, that makes us more effective, that makes us faster, that improves the final goal, which for Preply is to train and improve your language skills. So we kind of stopped talking so much about AI and giving the weight that wasn't necessary in the presentations, and really leveraging AI when we were talking about the learner experience and how personalized it can be, how fast it can be, and how tutors can use those tools to create better experiences for their learners. So it's kind of balancing the right amount of AI that you use because it should serve a purpose, not just be for the sake of the technology or for the sake of the trendy word. And that's what we found out. So we stopped talking about it in a way that, oh, we are an AI tool. No, we are a tutor, employee tool, tutor, learner tool. We connect people, but we do have state of the art technology that makes that whole experience a lot better. That's how we sell it now. So if you ever see a Preply presentation from one of our sellers, there will be AI, but it won't be everywhere. So it's just the right amount to make the whole experience and the purpose of Preply even better. So that's what we believe. So both work together, humans and technology. So obviously, you guys all put that in the chat. We bring the experience, we bring the pedagogy, ethics, past experiences, the human touch that is necessary for an effective learning. That bond between tutor and learner is super special, and both win from that experience, and that won't be replaced. But obviously, AI will help us with insights, with automations, with speed, with efficiency, and also personalization. So I will give you another experience, and then I'll ask Sylvia a question. But I moved to Spain 8 months ago, and I wanted to sound natural on the streets. I do speak a little bit of Spanish. I won't starve. I can order food. I can talk to people, go to the pharmacy and stores. But uh, every time I speak to someone in Spanish, they answer in English because they realize I'm not from here. So when I connected to my tutor, she's from Spain, because I wanted not only the language training, but also the cultural aspect, as Silvia mentioned earlier. And I told her, so Mercedes, I need to sound natural. I want to use the words you guys use here. I want to know about the culture. I want to know all of the things. And then she said, okay, great. We started talking about the culture and people's habits and day-to-day things. And one day I was taking my daughter to school, and then I grabbed a bike to ride my bike to work. And I was late for my session with my tutor. So I asked her if I could use my AirPods and talk to her over the phone. She said, yeah, perfect, because it's conversation based. You have a level of Spanish that is good. Just let's talk. And then, okay, so then a police officer stops me, and then he says, hey, you cannot ride your bike and use your AirPods at the same time, right? So this is dangerous. So in Spain, that's forbidden. And I start to I go to Mercedes, my tutor, and say, hey, Mercedes, I'm going to try to get rid of this ticket in Spanish. So if you can stick around and give me feedback later, that will be great, because I'm pretty sure I can get rid of this ticket. And then I'm talking to the police officer in Spanish and say, like, look, I'm new here. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Don't give me a ticket. Just give me a warning, and I'll promise not to do that again. And she was laughing on my ear because she said, while I was talking to the guy, she told me like, "Hey, you told me you wanted to know everything about Spain, and I told you you couldn't wear your AirPods riding a bike. Now it's your fault." And my tutor is telling me that on my ear, and I'm trying to control myself and trying to get rid of the ticket. After 15 minutes trying, the police officer just disappears for a while, and my tutor was giving me all of the points that I did wrong. So it was instant personalized feedback. So we never say that in here. This is perfect. This is not accurate, but I think you did a great job overall. And it couldn't be more instant than that. Then the police officer came back and he said, "Look, I have two news for you." I said, "Okay, shoot." And he said, "One, your Spanish is fine. I could understand everything you were saying. So congratulations." And I said, "Okay, gracias. Thank you. What's the second news?" He said, "Oh, here's your ticket." So I still got the ticket. I had to pay a lot of money because I was having my class with my tutor. But that's the kind of feedback that would never be possible with AI. It was actually the human touch. And when I got back home, I noticed that my tutor had put 18 topics for me to study a little bit more that I should improve. And AI just created some exercises around that so I could practice, which was the perfect combination of the human touch and AI working together to try to get me rid of a ticket, which never happened. But my Spanish sounds a little bit better. So that was something that happened like a month ago, and I'm still learning from my experience.
Absolutely. I think there are lessons to be learned there as well. I must say, we do not encourage our tutors to connect to their lessons while cycling or driving or anything like that. So, yeah, we also talked to our students and we talked to our tutors. We actually ran a survey because we were very curious to see how they felt about human interaction and artificial intelligence. And you can say they very much agree with that initial question that we asked at the start. They felt that the future of language learning is going to be a balanced combination of AI and human interaction. And I think Marcus's story also illustrates quite cleverly exactly how that can work. So you do have your human tutor who is correcting you, who is listening to your conversation, but then they can use the AI to create very personalized exercises where I'm sure in Marcus's case, there was a long exercise on how to apologize profusely. Perhaps there was a little bit on the subjunctive, which is also needed there. So I think that everyone's feeling a little bit the same, that we understand that tutors aren't going to go away. We want our tutors to stay, but we also want to ensure that AI can actually help the tutors do what they do best. We sort of looked at a few examples before, but I think here it's really when I think about where AI should help and where AI can really bring value, it really is in those more mundane, it's in the more assistant tasks. It's the time that you spend with your student in the live lessons as a tutor is so valuable, is so key. And so anything which takes away from that time should be done or could be done by AI, potentially also validated by humans to ensure that the quality is there. But it really is that 50-50 combination. We also, when we speak to our students, a lot of them like to combine the live lessons, but they also like to invest time in self-learning. So they also request a sort of a 50-50 split as well. So I think let's focus on live lessons are always going to be about human interaction, but all of the other learning that potentially could be powered by AI. We also, I think, had a question before with someone who is asking, would AI tutors, would AI bots actually make learning more affordable? And you can see here on this slide, we do say one of the main benefits from AI learning is it is more affordable. And it certainly means from the self-study side, makes learning a lot more accessible from people. However, Preply is a marketplace. So among all of our 35,000 tutors, then we have tutors of all different prices. So I would say that Preply itself, in as it is a dynamic marketplace, it does make learning affordable. So we don't need to rely just on the AI, but it does give that springboard. So perhaps you don't want to take 2 or 3 live lessons a week, and maybe you just want to take 1 live lesson a week. So what we can do is we can ensure that within that 60 minutes of live lesson, you absolutely take advantage of the tutor's time to produce the language, to practice the language, to get really personalized feedback on what you're saying, to make that relationship go, to get a few cultural tips as well. So this is where we see it does make it more affordable.
Amazing. Yeah, so I think it's safe to say we're going to not going to repeat ourselves, but people are the center of our experience, and AI is around to make that experience even more important and relevant. Uh, so Sylvia, can you share with us in practice what we have and obviously how we can empower the L&D process with AI at Preply?
Absolutely. So this goes a little bit back to what I was mentioning before. So for here at Preply, where we see the value of AI is in the distribution of AI. It's in the use cases that AI is needed for and the user interaction quality. So where we have decided to focus and where we have been successful up until now is in three main areas. So we've used AI for content creation and enhancement. We've used AI for assessment and feedback, and we've also used AI for engagement and motivation. So perhaps, Marcus, if you can move us on a slide, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how we see this perfect partnership between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. So I mentioned before, methodology team's primary responsibility up until 2023 was creating learning content. So we had a big team of writers, of editors, of proofers, etc. And we would start, as all decent curriculum developers do, we would start from identifying learning objectives, and then we would figure out what type of materials, what channels we wanted to provide that material from. We would all go away, we would create videos, or we would create dialogues, or we would write exercises, etc, and then we would bring it all together. That was then edited, and then we proofed it, etc. Then we would test it out with our students. So this was quite a time-consuming process, but an incredibly rewarding process as well. So when AI came along, we looked at ChatGPT in particular, which is the tool we worked with, and we thought, okay, how can we harness ChatGPT to perhaps create the content that we're looking for, but create it faster, create it more effectively? So this meant the entire team had to upskill in prompt engineering. So I sent them all out and I said, guys, we're going to spend 2 or 3 days where we're going to go and do as many courses as we possibly can on using AI. And this was back in February, so it was still fairly recent, and there weren't as many courses available as there are now. And the team, to be fair to them, they took on this huge learning curve and they said, right, yes, we can do this. And within 1 week, we were all talking about tokens, and which is how many characters you can have in the output. And we were figuring out, okay, what is really important. So we were like, okay, so we need to give ChatGPT a role. We need to be really explicit with our instructions. We need to always give it examples. And then we started playing with it, and we started seeing what kind of output could we get from ChatGPT to create a grammar exercise, a listening comprehension, a reading exercise, or even some icebreakers and so on. And what we saw was actually it's fairly reasonable. It's not how we would have created it, because obviously this ChatGPT is not 50 years of experienced material writers, which we were in the team at the time, but it did give us a start. So to a certain extent, it did allow us to create learning content faster. But we then realized the limitations were massive, especially with language learning. The CEFR, which is the Common European Framework of Reference for Language Learning, it's basically the levels that everyone has. ChatGPT did not understand that. We put descriptions of the levels in and said, make sure that this is suitable for this. And we got so frustrated. One of my colleagues said, why are you not managing this properly? And again, imagining if they were talking to a real person. And ChatGPT said, we can only do so much. If you want more information on this, please go and consult some experts, which is funny because, right, because we are the experts and we know this. But what we did find is, yes, you can, with effective prompting, you can create a decent reading comprehension. You can create some decent multiple choice questions or some true and false questions. We saw that ChatGPT is actually brilliantly creative. So if you are looking to create some icebreakers or some conversation starters, it's great at doing that. It gives you a whole list, and then you can pick and choose which ones work for you. So I think with everything, ChatGPT is where you start, or in this case, as I said, ChatGPT is the tool we're using, but you do need that human tweaking to ensure that the content that finally goes out is effective and is meeting your requirements. So with our teaching assistant, which I mentioned earlier, so this is a tutor-facing tool. They can insert the level of the student, they can insert the topic that they want to create content on, and then they can choose whether they want to create a reading comprehension or a dialogue or anything similar. They put all of that information into the front end of the tool. The back end has already been designed by us and the engineers, so we've put all the prompts in there already, and then it creates the exercise for you in a matter of 5-10 seconds. However, we also tell our tutors, this is created by AI. This needs to be validated by you. This needs your expertise before you send it to our students, because we know the limitations of the tool. We know ChatGPT can't be trusted as well. So this is just one way we have seen that AI is great for content creation on scale, content creation which is entirely personalizable. So any tutor can have a student at any level in any kind of role who has any kind of hobby, and they can say, my student is a designer, he is working in an ed tech company, he is really enjoying the Rugby World Cup right now. Can you please create an exercise on the future simple using this information? And off it will go. So the student will be exposed to rugby vocabulary within those grammar exercises. That is not something that my team could ever have done. We could not create so much personalization within the materials. So AI creating materials, great. Consolidation content like quizzes, it's really good at multiple choice questions that I mentioned before, really good at true or false questions, any kind of concept checking questions, it does pretty well. It's good at assessments, but where the human intelligence comes in is we not only have the methodology team reviewing the initial output of the prompts, but then we have all of our tutors who are also reviewing the output of the prompts, and they are looking at, is this appropriate? Is this accurate? Is this relevant? And is this engaging for the student? We also, within this tool, allow the tutors or the students to input any kind of material. So perhaps they read an article which they want to study with. So we can actually input that material into the tool and create not only the conversation starters, but also the concept checking questions. So this is a great way of seeing how students and tutors are both being exposed to personalized content, which is entirely validated by themselves. So that's one way with content creation and enhancement. So if we can move on to the second slide. So also with assessment and feedback. So you may have seen a lot of different tools which are now providing automatic feedback on homework, on quizzes, etc. AI is really great for that. Identifying language level. So I have put this in the AI category, but with a caveat. So at the moment, there is still work to be done, but we are currently exploring a tool for language assessment using AI, and we are seeing some fairly positive signals that we are going to be able to do this. So artificial intelligence, in many sense, can give you a little bit of feedback on whatever you're doing. It can give you feedback on writing. I think a lot of people have embraced the use of Grammarly. There is now no excuse for lazy punctuation anyway. Um, but actually, when we look at what the human intelligence offers, it's that in-depth qualitative feedback and guidance which we see our tutors offer. We want and we aim, and our tutors aim to really help learners understand both their strengths, their weaknesses, areas for improvement. And that's where the human and the tutor really comes in, because they are the people that know their student really well. They know how much feedback they can give, they can measure that levels of feedback as well. And they can also help students negotiate the meanings and the language functions, because sometimes they're not just black and white, sometimes there is more nuanced feedback which needs to be done. And also the feedback that they give, it's delivered with that human empathy. Like, we've all been there. It's a terrible mistake to make. There are certain words in Spanish. I've been living in Spain for a long time and I still make that mistake and it infuriates me. And my tutor says, "Sil, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm going to correct it yet again," but it's there. But my human tutor therefore makes me feel that they understand, they're empathizing with me as well. So, on AI assessment, we're working on a tool which is going to allow us to assess language level, but also we have a lot of AI throughout the platform which delivers feedback for the students on the material that they submit. And then finally, because I realize we're running out of time, and I'm sorry, I'm probably talking a little bit too much, but I just get so excited about this. It's all about engagement and motivation. So AI can be used to track learner engagement. So it can be used to track the hours, the minutes spoken. We have this amazingly cool tool in the live lessons, which is called our speaking tracker. So this actually tells you what percentage of the lesson you have spoken, and sends you a little report afterwards. Students get really excited by this and really want to make sure that they can improve those as well. And then we also have a lot of recommendations. So for next best actions, so we know as a student goes into the platform, what should they be doing next? What's their next best action? And that is also powered by AI. But of course, human intelligence brings genuine experiences, brings anecdotes and funny stories that actually aid the students to stay motivated in the form of positive feedback. Again, you've got that understanding of student pain points and that empathy. So I think the humans are genuinely thrilled when students do well. AI probably isn't really going to cut it when it comes to you feel that you've really triumphed. And celebrating those small victories and those progress gains is absolutely key. So I know we have plenty of questions, so maybe I'll take a pause there. And Marcus, do you want to wrap this up a little bit before we go to the questions?
If you guys, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for all the information, Sylvia. And if you guys allow me, I'm going to wrap us up. But also, I'm a salesperson, L&D in sales, so I'm going to deliver my pitch. But it's just like our last slide, guys, and just wanted to show you how good the tool looks. And as you can see, this interaction between the tutor and the student happens in our platform. So it's the same all-in-one learning environment. That's our learning ecosystem. And all the tools that are around this interaction will empower that learning process from the employee, and that high level of accountability between a tutor and the student. So when we talk about B2B for your companies, for example, we believe that we are the most effective methodology out there, tool out there, because we have this combination that is really powerful between humans, technology, and methodology as well. That will bring you results faster. And we understand for business worlds, if your companies are trading internationally, if you, top managers at your company are talking to headquarters overseas, if you have offices all over the globe, if people collaborate and communicate together, we believe that breaking those barriers just unlock a lot of possibilities for both individuals and companies. And it will increase productivity, it will decrease miscommunication, and obviously allow your companies to expand, to grow to different markets and trade internationally, block any risks that comes from international regulations or specific things like that. So that's what we're talking about here, using everything that we have to solve some very tangible challenges that companies have. And obviously the humans the human aspect remains being the center of everything that we're doing. So this is my last slide, our last slide, so we can go to Q&A. I'll just stop sharing so I can see you guys again, and feel free to ask.
That was great. Thank you so much. So much to ask, so much to share here. Got a bunch of questions in the center there. On the left-hand side, I should point out, everybody, don't forget, you've got the questions here. You've got the resources. You can find out more about Preply. You can request a meeting and contact Sylvia and Marcus, and also the links to the recordings there. Let's go into the questions here. I'm very interested in everything there, because I'm a former English language teacher from a long time ago myself, an amateur student of languages, so a lot of that resonating with me. Michelle, classic question about AI. How are you navigating intellectual property rights with AI? Classic question. Sylvia, any thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously with the AI, the tools that we currently have, which are tutor facing, all of the back end is Preply intellectual property. So our teams actually created all of the prompts. So tutors don't see the prompts we use. And that's how we navigate this. I mean, we also do encourage our tutors to go ahead and to learn as much as they can about prompting within ChatGPT, because they can add additional prompts. But for now, the intellectual property remains at Preply.
There's a bit more to it than that. We haven't got much time. I'm gonna press on. I think the AI, the copyright question is an issue. Yana asked, or who was it who asked? Vicky asked, could you share the courses that the team did and the providers? So you were talking about getting your team skilled up. What did you get people to do? And Yana's putting some links in as well. Please go ahead. So yeah, Sylvia.
Yeah, so I can go ahead and share some links with you after this as well. Contact me on LinkedIn and I'll share. So we did the OpenAI course. We also did the Coursera course, and we attended a whole load of webinars, anything that we could find out about AI and prompt engineering.
Right. So I think the answer there is we don't probably have time to put a bunch of links into chat, but by all means, have a look at it. Yana's put one in there. Thank you very much. I know that Google had a great 10-part course into AI. Very, very useful. Currently, Yana says AI is very much in the early stages of development and makes a lot of mistakes. Does Silver and Marcus expect things to remain this way the next 3 to 5 years? How would they view the future of this relationship between artificial and human intelligence, and therefore language learning? So in 1 minute, you just have to summarize the future for the next 5 years. Marcus, let's go over to you. What do you think is going to happen? We're very much in flux. Will things settle down? What's going to change?
I'll give the short version of my answer. So to talk about the future, we should look to the past. So if you think about 3 and 5 years back and where we are today, I think the same thing applies for the future. It is going to be better. It is going to change. It's going to learn from us. So I think, it makes many mistakes right now, but I think it will be better and better and more accurate as we go.
My 10 penneth worth on that is that our relationship with AI and expectations of it will also change. We'll end up with learners, tutors, and indeed in organizations, managers having a much better understanding of what can and can't be done. And they'll probably be asking students, well, why aren't you using an AI tool to check your writing to improve it? I think that's just going to become part of how we live. Would you recommend, Cecilia asks, someone new to AI to learn, how would you recommend someone new to AI to learn how to use it? What recommended sources do you use? And we've got some of that there. So I'm going to press on with that one. I think that's a good question. How do you measure the effectiveness, Jeremy asks, of the application of AI? Now, I put an answer in here, Sylvia, saying, I think Sylvia would probably say by rapidity of getting to fluency. But how do you know if AI has been effective?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. So first of all, Preply is a very data-driven company. We live and we breathe data. We do not take a move without looking at the data before. We actually have an experimentation framework. So every new enhancement to the product which uses AI, we actually roll it out to 50% of our learners, and we track what happens to it and how it affects our data. So it's very much, we are all about the data analysis, and that's how we see the effectiveness. And in terms of students, In terms of tutors, every time they create an output, they can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down as well. So those are just a couple of ways that we track, and we make sure that what we're delivering on is quality.
There's so much I want to ask you about that. In particular, how do you end up with a culture in a language learning company that is so data focused? But we don't have time to have that conversation now. I'm going to have to fly out to Barcelona and get some a cerveza, and we can talk about it over that. Let's last question from
Absolutely.
Olga. How do you think the teacher's approach or methodologies need to change to benefit most from using AI? So you've got teachers and tutors. What do they need to do to get the most out of these tools?
So I would say, first of all, to understand that they have nothing to fear from these new tools. The more they learn about the tools, the more they understand how to use them. The easier it's going to be for them to create learning objectives, for them to create curriculums in a short period of time. In terms of actually their teaching methodology, what I would suggest is you do start embracing that more flipped classroom model where you're thinking about what can I give my students to do before they come into the live lesson. So when they're with me, we spend all our time talking together. But yeah, it's interesting to hear from tutors how they are using them. And one of the tutors yesterday, he said, what I now do is I look at all the lessons I have for the week and I essentially use AI to plan those lessons. And then I use my expertise to take those lessons where they need to go. So I
Wow.
think they haven't changed their methodologies as such within the classroom, but they've changed how they can leverage the different tools outside of the classroom in more focus on self-study and self-learning.
Really comprehensive answer. Look, we have more questions here. We could go on, but we have to wrap up. It's been really great. A lot of people saying loads of insights, really eye-opening. Thank you so much. I would echo that. Thank you very much, everyone who's come along for your input and your thoughts, but also thank you very much to Sylvia Johnson and Marcus Very from Preply for sharing with us a really good insight into one of the toughest areas of teaching and learning, which is languages, which combines skills and knowledge and the necessity for motivation and and delivery all in one. It's a classic case of, well, can we change it? The answer is yes, you can. And you've managed to make it work with AI. Sylvia, Marcus, thank you so much. And does one of you want to give us a last 20-second rallying cry for the role of the human in the AI future? Sylvia, you've been doing most of the talking. Do you want to give us the final wrap up? What's our rallying cry for the future?
AI is here to stay. AI is here to empower, and so make it your own superpower.
What a great wrap up. Thank you so much. It's another t-shirt right there. Fantastic. All right. I'm going to stick around, Sylvia, Marcus. I'm going to close the doors. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And I'm going to close the doors. Merci beaucoup. Çok teşekkürler. Gracias. And I'm going to just catch Sylvia and Marcus the other side. Bye for now, everybody. See you in a couple of weeks' time at the next webinar.
Bye, everyone.